Salutations, my Legion of Doom. It's your Time Lord wannabe, Brainstormer of pop culture. Yep, this is another Power Rangers fan series. I'm making this one because, well, it is following the theme of legacy and stuff, and I think it could have been a better one than Megaforce or Super Megaforce. Let's be honest. Saban right now is, it's not doing great. It's not doing great. Sorry to say. Okay, so this one takes place about 40 years after Power Rangers RPM. You know, one of the good ones. Alright, so in the first 15 of those years, Dr. K trained two gifted proteges, Professor Franklin Harbert and a Dr. Kander Ponter. In this time of peace, the three developed a new clean, sustainable energy, known as GYRO energy. They harnessed this energy through the use of devices known as GYRO cores. These power everything, from trains to entire cities. And at the 15th year of Venjix's defeat, the primary gyro energy research facility in the city of Central Point exploded, with Dr. K and Professor Harbert being killed in said explosion. 2 years later, a threat came to be, a robotic villain known as Apex. He publicly announces himself that he wants all the gyro cores and gyro energy for himself. And there's nothing the Defense Forces could do because of Apex's new gyro core droids known as Marauders, which are just upgraded grinder models powered by gyro energy. Just look those pictures up because I can't do any editing here. Okay, just sorry. Okay, so Dr. Ponter activates a new Ranger program he was developing called Project Ranger Gyro Core. Power Rangers Gyro Core. Get it? Yeah. Okay. So, and he finds 5 candidates for the program, and this new team of Rangers was able to defend and push back the threat of Apex, but not entirely defeating him. Hey, so, a lot of exposition there. But this story doesn't follow the Rangers as they come together. Oh no, if you guys have seen my other videos for like pitches like these, you know I like to go outside the mold. So, where the series takes place, it's about 20 years into Power Rangers Gyro Core's future. So, this makes the Rangers about in their late 30s. And they've been Rangers for about 20 years. So again, this is aimed for a more mature audience, but all ages can enjoy it. Okay, so we covered the background. Now let's get on with my favorite part of any story, the characters. Sorry, getting over a cold here. Alright, so we have the Gyro Red Ranger, Maria Jonas Fillmore. She's the leader of the group, the mother figure of the team, and making sure her team is cared for and always on top of their game. She is married to the Green Ranger, Jacobin Fillmore. They've been married for over a decade now. They did have a child around when they were about 23. And when their son was about 10 years old, he was taken away when they were ambushed by Apex. Now, they believe their son is dead at this point, which has been like about 5, maybe 6 years now, maybe 8. I don't, so yeah. She does blame herself for what happened, believing that she wasn't strong enough to save their son. And this causes her to train even harder than before, pushing her beyond her limits constantly to somewhat dangerous effects, dangerous ends. So we have the GYRO Blue Ranger, Carlton Eastman. A close friend of Maria and Jacob, Carlton's extremely loyal to his friends, usually asking them if they want to talk about their problems, and that he would listen. Sometimes his over-compassionate nature puts him in serious hot water. Many times he should have perished due to his heroic deeds. That's just the way he is, and he wouldn't change it for the life of him. Alright, so we have Sylvia Ivory. She's the GYRO Yellow Ranger. She's brash, headstrong, and the first to the fight kind of ranger. However, she always feels that she doesn't belong on the ranger team due to the two reasons. One being that her brother, the Central Point Defense Force Chief Commander, Alec Avery, was injured before he could suit up, and she had to take his place as the Yellow Ranger. She also feels that her ranger status alienates her from her peers at the Defense Force. Alright, so we have now the GYRO Green Ranger, Jacobin Fillmore, who was the second ranger to be accepted into the program, right after Maria. At first, he was the rogue, never listened to orders, often doing his own thing. After years of battles, he started to trust, respect, and listen to Maria. Eventually the two becoming an item. You know, just that. And Jacobin loves his wife. Jacobin loves his wife dearly, and is ultimately there for her, even after their son was taken from them. He never left her side. And after their son were taken from them, he became fiercely protective of his team and wife. This protectiveness can often be taken too far, meaning he's willing to die so his team, his friends, his family will be safe. Alright. Haley Tenner. She's the GYRO Indigo Ranger. You know, purple. I don't know, I like a purple ranger. They're cool looking. Alright, so she's the former lab assistant to Dr. Cantor Ponter. She developed a lot of the gyro tech the Rangers use with Dr. Ponter. She's exceptionally brilliant. Works diligently on the Central Point Gyro Core energy plant, keeping it up and running. This devotion to helping is good, but Haley constantly pushes herself, be it improving the gear or for the Rangers or maintaining the city's gyro core, or even working on her physical abilities, you know. Alright, so now we have, so I'm kind of taking inspiration from a lot of the evil Rangers, you know, evil mind-controlled Rangers. Well, in a way. So we have the son of the Red and Green Ranger, Quinn Fillmore, the GYRO Bronze Ranger. So he was the son. Yeah, so he's the son of Maria and Jacobin Fillmore. And at the age of 10, he was kidnapped by Apex, with his parents believing he was dead for about 6 years. For those 6 years, he was tortured, experimented on, and brainwashed by Apex. And when he became around 16, Apex had one of his machine commanders steal the experimental bronze gyro core morpher and giving it to Quinn, making him attack the Rangers. For a while, the Bronze Ranger was the greatest threat to the Gyro Core Rangers. But in a fierce battle against his mother, he was able to overcome his conditioning and join up with the Rangers. But, however, the team didn't really trust him for a long time. Because, for 6 years he was brainwashed to believe that the Rangers were his enemy. So, it's kind of practical in a sense. They can't trust someone right away without having a special bond with them. There was also an unforeseen complication to this. There was a gyro core, put inside Quinn's, body. Apparently, it was put in there in his first year of kidnapping, and it siphons off his life energy, or bioenergy, if you want to say, when he's demorphed, when he's a normal person. And his suit acts as like a protective barrier, shutting down that gyro core in him. But when he's outside of that suit, his ranger suit, he's slowly dying. And they can't operate due to the fact that many vital organs grew over that gyro core for the last 6 years. And so he has to stay in his ranger form or in a specifically designed room meant to shield the effects of the gyro core. Alright, so moving on to side characters. So we have Dr. Cantor Ponter, the last developer of the gyro energy to still be alive. He developed the Power Rangers morphers and initial technology. He was actually the adopted son of Dr. K and Ziggy Grover. Being a promising student and having an intellect like Dr. K, which made the two very close. When Dr. K's death happened, it severely hurt Cantor. This tragedy looms over Cantor, so he usually throws himself into his work. This has greatly closed a distance between him, his friends, and family, especially with his daughter, Fiona Ponter. She is a medical staff member at the Central Point Hospital. She grew up with the Rangers, basically being her second family. Now, she's a medical professional that tends to their injuries. Due to her father's strained relationship, she often accompanies herself with Carlton and Sylvia, who she sees more as parents than her actual parents. Alright, so last one is Commander-Chief Alec Avery. He is the older brother to the Yellow Gyro Ranger, and he was supposed to be the Yellow Ranger, but in an attack by Apex, his leg was injured. So, ultimately giving his spot to his sister, Sylvia. Now he works alongside the Rangers, trying to keep Central Point safe. He is seen as this gruff military soldier, but he's just a guy who loves his sister and just does his job. And he does his job well. Alright, so villains. Alright, Apex is actually Professor Franklin Harbert. He worked with Dr. K and Dr. Ponter to make the gyro cores. However, he felt jealous of the substantial success Ponter was making, completely overshadowed by his colleague. One night, he was testing a theory on advancing the gyro cores by overdriving its power matrices. This was ultimately dangerous. Dr. K found out and tried shutting it down. While Hubbard tried turning it back on, these actions began to overload the gyro core. The explosion happened, killing Dr. K and severely injuring Hubbard. He disappeared into his self-imposed exile. He used prototype gyro core technology to repair himself. After a year in reflection, he realized that really none of this was his fault. He acted the way he did because of the perfectness that was Cantor Ponter. So he began to build machines using old vintage technology that he salvaged, and built his own robots and machines to attack his former partner, Dr. Cantor. However, he does have reasoning for wanting the gyro energy. After the explosion and modification to his body, he learned that his gyro core needs a constant flow of power to live. So he wants to steal most, if not all, gyro core energy to sustain his life for years to come. He only lives now because he's hooked up to a small generator that recycles his reserves. With the rise of the gyro core rangers, he had to up his game, eventually using the old vintage facility to build his own warbots. As the rangers combated him, he had to devise a new way of defeating the rangers, namely their leader. He took her son away, with a nefarious plot to use him as a pawn at a later time. Alright, so now we have Slack, who was the first droid built by Apex. He acts as the personal caretaker of Apex, and who really seemed more human and caring due to his doctor-patient relationship with his creator. He is a chief deriver of the Marauder Legions. Now we have Cerberus, who is the third built lieutenant droid, and his personality is very angry and militaristic due to his personality actually being like based off of Apex, and his violent ego often gets him into hot water with Apex. He manufactures a lot of the warbots specifically. Then you have Photon, who was the fourth droid built by Apex, with her role being the chief spy and information gatherer. She was also assigned the role of caretaker and trainer to Quinn Fillmore. Although Quinn and Photon's relationship is simply teacher who was ordered to teach, mind you, and teacher and student, they did eventually bond over a mutual liking of blasters. Eventually they became good comrades, trusting one another and being dangerous force to the Rangers for a time. Until Quinn was able to break free of the brainwashing and join the Rangers to stop Apex. This choice caused a very emotional outburst from Photon, making her unable to properly perform her function. Even at one point, aiding the Rangers and getting the technology to save Quinn's life. Apex found this humanity in his droid rather disturbing, so he reprogrammed Photon, making her nothing more than a shell that followed orders. The encounter between her and Quinn was hard for Quinn, because he had an emotional connection with his former friend. The battle was hard fought at the end, but at the end, Quinn was able to defeat Photon and make the final blow. But before the final blow was struck, the original Photon spoke, saying, "Goodbye, my friend." Also, quick note, I thought Apex would design Photon's AI to resemble his mentor, Dr. K. So, like, the voice would be similar to Dr. K's, in a way. I just thought that'd be kind of cool. Alright, what'd you think? Tell me in the comments, like and subscribe, and in brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Until next time, my legion.